Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 of the Superbike budget build series. So in the last episode, we saw that the Yamaha R1 came in and did not crank. We had a starter motor issue, right? So we've ordered a new starter motor and the starter motor has just come. So for today, we are going to put in that starter motor into the motorcycle and see if we can get the bike to start. So let's see. So this is the part that has come from Yamaha. Nice original packaging. Yep, that's a brand new starter motor. So this original brand new starter motor from Yamaha costs about 35,000 for this motorcycle. There are smaller kits available where you can refurbish the starter motor, and a lot of people opt to do that, but that is not a long-term successful solution, which is why we don't recommend it. We just make sure that we install a brand new starter motor, and that seems to work for a really long amount of time. So yeah, that's the starter motor. So the first thing I'm going to do is, to be able to do this, I have to get the airbox out, I have to get the throttle body out, I have to clean a lot of this mess. Once all of that is done, we can get the starter motor out, replace it with the new one, put all of this back. Obviously the throttle body and everything is going to get cleaned in the process. Put all of that back and see if the new starter makes any difference. We've got a temporary battery to put in. I have to figure this wiring out, but we'll do that along the way. So let's get started. So we've got the throttle body out. This is it. One big revelation was that the throttle body was completely loose. It was not at all tightened down. Like, I did not even have to open the screws. The clamps were totally loose. That is one. Now this, the Yamaha, they have a fancy name for it which I don't really remember, but this is not really a ride by cable throttle body. This is technically a ride by wire throttle body, but not really, because you have cables here. You have cables on the bike, right? So how it works is your cables come and attach here, which rotates this. But as you can see, if I rotate that, my throttle body does not open, right? My throttle body remains closed. So then you will say that is pretty much useless. So this connects to a sensor here. This sensor sends a signal back to the ECU. The ECU reads whatever those signals are and sends a reading back to this motor right here, which actually is responsible for opening the throttle bodies. So that's how this throttle body works. They have some fancy name for it, YCCA or something like that. But yeah, I don't remember the exact name of it. But that's how this throttle body works. We're going to keep this aside, get this completely cleaned. That is that. So if you have a look inside, this is the first time I am opening the. Hey, Rushi, give me a torch, no, please. So this is all obviously very messy, very messy. This right here, what you can see is actually your starter motor right there, right? There is a ton of. Thank you so much. There's a ton of oil. So you'll have to see where that oil is coming from, whether it is oil or whether it is muck from this coolant leak right here. So there's a coolant seepage right here. Move this pipe around. There's a coolant seepage here, which has it is either that or it is oil. No, this is definitely oil. Yeah, this is definitely a lot of engine oil vapor. So then let's have a look inside. So yeah, I don't see a ton of carbon in the valves, but there is some. So we won't really have to get it out. Yeah, but we don't think we'll open up the engine for that. We'll try to use some cleaners or something to get it sorted. But yeah, so the next step is to get all of this wiring out of the way and see how can I access the starter motor. I think this pipe will obviously have to come out. So the cooling system will have to come out. I'll obviously have a look at the manual and see what they are saying. So that's part 2. Let's go ahead with that now. So we had a look at I had a look at the manual. We had to get the thermostat out, which was sitting here. we've got that out. We've loosened the starter motor. We've removed the heat shield that sits on top of the engine. That will be cleaned, and eventually that will have to be replaced because it's not in that good of a shape. Disconnected a few wires here and there, a few pipes here and there, to get to the starter motor. Hussain bhai can come closer and I'll show. So this is a starter motor. I have removed the mounting bolts. One sits here and the other one sits in there, right there. Yeah, sits in there. So that is it. The starter motor can now come out. So firstly, the starter motor should not be that easy to just slide out. That shows that the starter motor O-rings have failed. Usually the O-rings. So let me just work this out. Okay. So a little bit of coolant that has fallen. It's not a leak. It's when I got the thermostat out, a little bit has spilled over. So this O-ring right here. Hey, and something here is also coming off. Yeah. So this starter is not really in good shape, but okay. This O-ring right here, right? This O-ring right here is supposed to be a tight fit. And when I say it's supposed to be a tight fit, the starter motor should be held in place. We usually have to tap the starter motor so that it can slide out. So this O-ring failed a long time ago, as you can see with all of the grease marks and everything down there, right? All of this is just a lot of gunk. So all of this we are going to clean now before we put the brand new sparkling starter motor in. All of this, the whole thing is going to get cleaned. This is as good as junk for me, so this will probably go in the bin. But yeah, we'll first have to clean a lot of these parts. So we'll get a boy to clean this. I'll go ahead and clean the throttle body and the mat, and then we'll install the new starter motor. Once that goes on, all of this whole system has to go on. This is the thermostat that has come out. There's supposed to be so this pipe right here sits in this cavity in here, right here. So there is supposed to be an O-ring in there, but all I can see is just, yeah. So if you can see closely, this is part of an O-ring actually, but it's become so old and so hard that I can break it with my hand. You know, it's like a piece of stone now. So all of this will have to be sorted. So for now we'll find a replacement O-ring and put that on, put this back in. We are thinking we'll change the coolant pipes, assuming that the owner once decides to keep the motorcycle. But yeah, for now this whole thing gets spankingly clean, and we'll put the new starter motor in, put the battery in, put the airbox and all of this that we've taken out back in. Yeah. क्या कुछ तो कोई अच्छा बना रहा है हुसैन भाई।
तुमको अभी खाने का
खुशबू आ रही है मेरे को।
रेडी बताओ।
Hey, sorry, compressor नहीं। Okay. So we've hit our first bad thing, which I'm a bit sad about, and I wasn't really expecting it. We were halfway through the cleaning process, and we got the sprocket cover out. The sprocket cover came out in pieces. Now if you can see this area right here, so all of that is a bunch of M seal or JB weld, as you may call it, right? So basically what has happened is at some point in the bike's life, the chain has snapped, gone through the sprocket cover, broken the sprocket cover mounting, and damaged the casing as well, which some mechanic has filled it with M seal, which is a common repair job to do, because changing the whole casing is going to be quite expensive. So this is something that I wasn't really expecting, but we'll figure out what to do about this at some point. To solve this, obviously this means a full engine rebuild and a new casing. The good thing about this engine is that the cylinder block is not a part of the casing, so the cylinder block can be reused. So that's up until here is your engine casing, and this is your cylinder block, and then your cylinder head. So the cylinder block can be reused, so we can keep the same connecting rods and pistons and the cylinder block the same and change the casing. The R1 is known for a crankshaft problem that we know. So before the owner bought the motorcycle, I had already told him that, you know, at some point if you keep the motorcycle, keep in mind that you may need to replace the crankshaft. But that is that. So we got this cleaned somewhat a little bit, and we found that, so I just thought I'll update you guys. On the internal side, things look very clean now. So all of this has been cleaned up nicely. We're going to just take this tissue out, pull it slowly so that nothing gets left behind. Make sure this is clean. Yep, that all looks okay. You can see a little bit of the internals inside. So now we can what we can do is put the new starter motor in. We'll grease the O-rings a little bit and then put the new starter motor in. I still have to find a new O-ring for this coolant pipe right here. Maybe there is an O-ring there. I'll try to get it out. So is that an O-ring? That's an O-ring, isn't it? Oops, I broke it. It's an O-ring. Okay, try to scavenge this and make sure that this is clean. What I would like to do first is put a tissue in so that the pieces of O-ring don't fall inside. I need an O-ring.
Wait. The size?
Outside. Go on the outside here. Cooling system. Cool. So we'll try and put the starter motor in now. 1200. मैं कहाँ चलूँ? मैं इस पे काम कर रहा हूँ ना. कर. There you go. See how tight that was and how loose the old starter motor was. Yep. Brand new starter motor in. Time to bolt it down, and we'll try to put everything else back together. Cool. So we've put the throttle body back. It went back relatively quickly. Airbox is back on now. Okay, I'm going to show you guys something very interesting, right? So this is the airbox of a bike, and if you've seen an airbox of a bike, the R1 airbox is going to look very unusual in just a second. So I'm going to put this on. This goes on just like, yeah, this is a clip on, so just clips in place. Yep. And then these clip on like that. Pretty straightforward, right? Now this is unique to the R1. I know what this is, obviously, but I'm going to see how many of my viewers actually know or can guess. You know, wrong answers are welcome as well. So if you know what this system is, how it works, why it exists, let me know in the comments below. we're going to continue assembling this motorcycle because it's almost end of day and I have to crank this bike up. What all have we done? We've put the fuel tank back temporarily. From inspection we feel like the fuel tank might need a replacement because I think the internal pipes have rusted and broken down, so the fuel will constantly flow out. That is something which is for later. We will have a look. New starter motor is in. We've done a lot of cleaning inside, which I'm very happy with. Fuel tank is in, throttle body is in, airbox is in, everything is connected. We sorted out a few of the wires here, although this still looks pretty bad. So this is the power, this is one of your diode relay boxes. So this has some wiring issues that we need to sort out for later, but our point now is to see whether the motorcycle cranks or no, and it should fire up much better. So let's see what is it doing. Yeah, so see, we can only see a neutral light here. So I'll connect this wire back and switch it off. Yeah, so that is what is caused by this one relay. It does not let the ECU crank. So that is one. Let's see if it cranks. I'm going to crank it again. Yep. So part 1 of operation successful. That was one of the major problems that the bike came in with. It would not crank, or it would crank once, and once the bike would heat up, it would not start. So it was a starter motor problem. Ordered a new starter motor, and luckily we could source one at such a short notice. We got it in within 3-4 days time, so that was really fast. Swapped it in. The bike cranks beautifully now. There are a few wiring issues that need to be still sorted out. There's a fuel pump relay issue that's still there, but apart from that, bike is cranking beautifully now and it fires up. So yeah, it's been good for today. We got the throttle bodies cleaned, we got the airbox cleaned, we got a lot of dirt muck inside cleaned up. So yeah, I'm happy with that for today. So now what we have to do is we are waiting for the rear shock to come back. Rear shock is going to come back. We are going to pack this motorcycle up and do a couple of test rides on it and see if the owner likes it. If the owner does like it, we are going to bring it back into the shop, and then we are going to plan a ton of upgrades on it. That is when I will catch you back. Till then, ride safe, ride hard, take care, bye.